There was a lot that kind of led to it. The 2 games before, when she was in Connecticut, first game, she came in and hitting, elbowing, and I talked to one of the refs when she checks in. Hey, we got history from the first game.
There's not just a voice, there's these pictures, that have come out. And I know a lot of people immediately want to say, well, these are, they're not real pictures, right? They're doctored photographs. But this one I saw, I was like, man, that's actually the girlfriend in the background. But let's say this is doctored.
The question isn't why we try to get Brittany Griner home. We should be trying to get all of our people home. Again, that would have included the hundreds or if not thousands of people we left behind in Afghanistan when we turned the place over to the Taliban in cowardly fashion. But I'm glad that Brittany Griner is home. The question is why we traded one of the world's most notorious arms dealers for a WNBA player. That seems like a really crappy trade.
What if I told you the WNBA just unleashed its wildest plot twist yet, and it didn't even happen on the court? A doctor, a clipboard, and Brittany Griner stepping into the spotlight. What happened next? Let's just say, nobody saw it coming. This isn't just basketball drama. This is headline-level chaos with layers. The kind of story that makes the whole league stop and stare. So buckle up, because what you're about to hear might just shake the hardwood. Let's dive into the madness.
Before we actually go, I just wanted to continue on with that. We had to end our SiriusXM show. We said goodbye to Anna, but I just have a couple of other thoughts. We've talked a lot in this show about the dangers to women, the basketball players from that school, Lowell in Massachusetts, who were injured when that trans player, a boy pretending to be a girl, hurt them with the KIPP Academy. Remember that? We've talked about the girl, the field hockey player in Massachusetts who got her teeth knocked out and severe facial injuries from playing against a biological boy. We've talked at length about Peyton McNabb. There have been many other situations. And that's reason enough. Just the obvious risk of putting your girl up against a post-pubescent boy.
Dave Chappelle, the noted comedian, said, what if LeBron James, essentially, I'm paraphrasing here, what if LeBron James had decided to transition to being a woman? Mm-hmm. He'd average 800 points a game.
Right,
Who's going to stop him? That's what he brought up. He said, so we think that we're being fair. We think that we're being okay with our thinking, but we're not taking it into total consideration in terms of how it really, really registers with us. And so when somebody like you comes along and you're very, very passionate about it and you're going at folks for okaying this stuff, they want to attack you. And I'm sitting there saying to myself, you can't find something better to do? I mean, listen, Megyn Kelly's on a game, but you certainly ain't gonna win this argument because we're watching and we see, who couldn't see that you were right? It was people who didn't want to see.
Before we wrap up completely, I wanted to add a few more thoughts. We had to end our SiriusXM show and say goodbye to Anna, but this conversation deserves a little more time. Throughout the show, we've talked extensively about concerns surrounding women's sports, particularly safety and fairness. We discussed the basketball players at a Massachusetts school who were injured during a game involving a transgender athlete. We mentioned the field hockey player in Massachusetts who suffered serious dental and facial injuries after a collision during play. We've also talked at length about Peyton McNabb and other similar situations that have sparked national debate. For many people, the central concern comes down to what they see as the physical differences between post-pubescent males and females competing in the same sports categories. That alone, they argue, raises questions about safety and competitive balance. Dave Chappelle once made a provocative point in his comedic style, paraphrasing here, asking what might happen if an elite male athlete like LeBron James transitioned and competed in women's sports. His exaggerated example was meant to spark discussion about competitive disparities. Whether people agree with the framing or not, the broader point was about whether we're fully thinking through the implications of current policies. So when someone speaks out passionately on this issue, critics may push back strongly. But supporters would argue that this debate isn't about hostility, it's about asking difficult questions. And from that perspective, some believe the evidence is visible and worth discussing, even if others would rather not engage with it. At its core, this conversation continues because people feel strongly on both sides, about fairness, safety, inclusion, and how to balance all of it in a way that respects everyone involved.
Brittany Griner is, in fact, a man. One of the videos that give us cause to say that is this video. It is from her Instagram stories from years and years ago. And when it comes to Instagram, they use a combination of like AI detection and plus manual surveyors to make sure that no explicit content ends up on the platform. So clearly whatever AI detection system was used when Britney posted this and it stayed up for 106 weeks was not like, oh, this is a female chest, we have to take this down. Oftentimes, if breast cancer runs in a family, women will preemptively get like double mastectomies.
When you're 6 feet 8 inches, built like a superhero prototype, and your voice sounds like it could narrate a movie trailer, the internet is eventually going to start doing what it does best: speculate. And once the memes start flying, suddenly everybody online thinks they've earned a PhD in biology from the University of Wi-Fi. But just when it feels like nothing more than locker room gossip amplified by bad signal bars, the story escalates. An alleged doctor, a clipboard, credentials being waved around, claims about reveals the league supposedly kept off the stat sheet. And that's when it crosses from sports banter into full-blown rumor mill chaos. A press conference gets mentioned. People lean in. Headlines start forming before facts do. And the question hanging in the air isn't really about basketball anymore. It's about how quickly speculation can snowball into something much bigger. That's where the real twist begins.
She had a press conference and they asked her and it was like, what do you think about, transgenders participating in women's sports? And she said she was an advocate for it. Like, she believed that they should be able to participate in women's sports.
Then I believe she should have been in a male prison in Russia then.
That's what I said.
If she believed transgender women, then she should have been in a male prison in Russia. Then transgender women that want to be men should go. Now transgender men who want to be women.
See, it's all confusing.
Now this so-called doctor, and let's just say the internet has produced a lot of experts with zero credentials, claims to have evidence. Not gossip, not rumor, but supposed proof. Suddenly social media is throwing around scientific terms like it's halftime trivia, suggesting there's some hidden biological bombshell the league kept under wraps. And that's where things spiral. Because once anonymous credentials and dramatic language enter the chat, speculation turns into accusation. The conversation stops being about basketball and starts being about identity, fueled by memes, hot takes, and people who treat complex biology like it's a comment section debate. If something that's serious were ever true, it wouldn't live in rumor threads or viral clips. It would require verified facts, medical privacy considerations, and official statements, not anonymous claims and internet theatrics. But in today's digital arena, all it takes is one loud voice with a clipboard and a confident tone to send the timeline into chaos.
Usually there is, but it's very difficult because you say that tattoo, but when you're taking a picture, it flips, right? So it kind of gives it like a mirror image. So that's not necessarily the right side. That's his left side, right? So there wouldn't be a tattoo. So you got to take these into account. This one though is the legit, like, if you're looking at photos and you're like, okay, which ones are not doctored, which ones seem to be real, this would be the one. These were pulled, and you can look these up yourself. They have like these Wayback Machines for Instagram that save photos.
And that's exactly how the internet turns into a live-action mystery show. Suddenly, every slow-motion rebound gets treated like a scene from a cartoon unmasking. Comment sections start playing detective, as if athletic dominance automatically requires a conspiracy board with red string and screenshots. It stops being about box scores and starts being about body parts. That's when things get reckless. People begin diagnosing strangers from grainy clips. One claims it's the jawline. Another says it's the voice. Someone else pulls up charts that look like they were designed in a basement lab between meme posts. Overnight, timelines are flooded with self-appointed geneticists and endocrinologists who learn biology from comment threads. And here's the reality. Being tall, muscular, or having a deep voice isn't evidence of anything except being tall, muscular, or having a deep voice. Elite athletes often sit at the extreme ends of human physical traits. That's literally why they're elite. When anonymous experts start tossing around hormone levels and measurements without verified sources, it stops being analysis and becomes spectacle. And spectacle spreads faster than facts. At some point, the conversation drifts so far from basketball that the sport itself disappears. What's left is outrage theater, louder than a buzzer beater, but far less grounded in reality.
Sneakers.
Guy who pretended.
Is that like a Spanish name?
No, it's not. It's a movie basically about a man who had to impersonate a woman so that he could play professional basketball.
Oh, okay. Kind
Yeah.
of like a Mrs. Doubtfire.
Kind of,
but,
exactly. Kind of like a Big Mama's house type of thing.
But there's, funny enough, I mean, you mention it as a movie, but there's a lot of that going on where
Yeah.
now men are pretending to be women to play in women's sports leagues.
Isn't that just ironic?
Because, you know, recently a video clip of Brittany Griner has been going viral.
Yeah, where she says that it's unfair that transgender women can't play professional sports.
And almost everyone, to the last person in the comments, is saying, yo, this is a dude.
And that's the part where the whole thing drifts from debate into full-blown absurdity. The league becomes this awkward bystander, like it wandered into a storm it didn't create. Meanwhile, an athlete ends up at the center of a culture war she didn't sign a contract for. What started as basketball talk morphs into internet detectives combing through slow-motion clips like they're decoding ancient manuscripts. But here's the thing. If this were truly about science, it wouldn't be unfolding through dramatic TikToks with suspense music and zoom-ins. Real medical claims don't get verified in comment sections. They don't come with ring lights and viral hashtags. Serious conversations require credible evidence, due process, and respect for privacy, not meme breakdowns and body part analysis. When speculation turns into parody, knee angles, shoulder width, vocal tone, it stops being about fairness or policy and starts being about spectacle. And spectacle is easy. It's loud. It's clickable. It spreads fast. Imagining over-the-top press conferences and hormone charts turning into halftime entertainment might sound comedic, but it highlights how quickly public discourse can spiral. At the end of the day, athletes sign up to compete, not to have their medical history treated like a trending topic. That's the real twist. Not some dramatic unmasking. Not a viral gotcha. Just the reality of how quickly the internet can turn a person into a symbol in a debate much bigger than the game.